What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the TCO Fantasy Football Show. Whoop! The 2022 season has finally come to an end. Congrats to the Los Angeles Rams on winning the Super Bowl and putting our boy Joe Shiesty in the dirt. Better luck next year. And so to start the 2022 season off right, I have my 2022 rookie rankings. Oh yeah, baby! And so we're probably going to break this up into a couple of different episodes. And so today we're going to go through players 1 through 3. And so let's get right on into it. Alrighty, so for all three of the guys I'm talking about today, I personally think they're all pretty darn equal. You know, I think they're all going to probably make instant impacts right at the gate on their fantasy football teams. And if you get any of them, I would be pretty darn excited for you. And so my number one guy is Breece Hall. This guy is a running back out of Iowa State, played there all 3 years. He's 6'1", 220, and he's a nice size, good build for a running back. And this past season he had 253 attempts, 472 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 5.8 yards per carry. Year before that, 2020, 279 carries, 1,572 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, and 21 touchdowns. So, a little better stats in 2020. But I love him. I think he's going to be a really good back right out the gate. He's a 3-down workhorse who has receiving upside, which we love in fantasy football, especially PPR leagues. And I like him. He's a very tight runner. And so I know that sounds weird, but if you watch some of his highlight tape, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. This kid, when he runs, it's very very not loose like somebody else we're going to talk about later in this. And I like him a lot. I think an amazing comparison is Le'Veon Bell, a running back who isn't very fast, but has the high IQ in order to find the right hole, take the extra second to find the right hole and burst through. And I like him. I think he's going to be a very good running back in the league. His only big issue that I can really see is the fact that he had over 800 touches in college, so he was beat on just a little bit. But he's still young. He's only 20 years old right now, which is kind of insane. He's going to be 21 when he enters the league. And he's a young running back who we could possibly have on our teams for a little while. And I'm excited for him. I think he's going to be, if he's put into the right system, I think he could be a workhorse right out the gate. And so Breece Hall is my 101. I think he's going to be the first guy off the board in most rookie drafts. Alright, so my next guy is the person I was talking about who is a tad bit looser than Breece Hall. It's Isaiah Spiller. And Isaiah Spiller played all 3 years at Texas A&M. He is a 6'1", 215-pound running back. Well, at least that's what ESPN has him listed as. I don't believe he's that big, because when you watch him play, he does not look that big. He looks like he's 5'10", maybe 5'11" at the tallest. But let's go with what ESPN says for right now. And so this past season, he had 179 attempts, 1,011 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 5.6 yards per carry. 2020, 188 attempts, 1,036 yards, 5.5 yards per carry, and 9 touchdowns. Best stat about him, though. Listen to this one. He has never, ever fumbled in college football. Ball security, ball security, ball security. That's what I'm talking about. Because I do not want those -2 points on my fantasy football team, because that can be the difference between you winning a week and you losing a week. And so ball security is something I find very important. But nonetheless, Isaiah Spiller is a super patient and high IQ running back. Reminds me a lot of Arian Foster. And I don't know if you guys go back that far, because Arian Foster played like 10 years ago, back when he was good. But back in the day, he used to be a top 10 fantasy running back. And I really like Isaiah Spiller. I think he has immense upside, much higher upside than Breece Hall, but I think he has a much lower floor than Breece Hall. And that's the only reason I have Breece just a tad bit higher. But nonetheless, I think Isaiah Spiller is going to be a really good running back in the NFL. Biggest issue, in my opinion, is the fact that he has really long legs. He's not as well proportioned. I know that sounds a little weird, but he's not as well proportioned as Breece Hall in the fact that a lot of his body is these big old legs he has, and so it's hard for him to get those things churning and moving and getting through the holes rather than having a little running back who has little legs. Sometimes little legs, I know it sounds a little weird, but little legs are a little bit better for running backs. But I don't think that's any reason not to draft him by any means, and I really like him. I think him and Breece Hall are just about equal, if you were picking between the two, I would put Breece Hall just a tad bit higher, just because he's so refined and he's really looked good in his game. But Isaiah Spiller has all of the pieces to be a really good running back in the NFL, and if I were you at 102, I would definitely be drafting Mr. Isaiah Spiller. So my third guy is 110% going to be the first wide receiver off the board. He is a absolute demon. It's Treylon Burks. And you can honestly make the argument for taking this guy at the 101 or the 102. He is that good. He played all 3 years at Arkansas. He's 6'3", 225 pounds. And this past season, he had 66 catches, 1,104 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 16.7 yards per catch. 2020, 51 catches, 820 yards, 16.1 yards per catch, and 7 touchdowns. And let me tell you right now, it's not that big of a difference. It's only like 300 yards. But the difference in his receiving yards is because of his quarterback, 110%. This past year, he got a new quarterback, and that kid is significantly better than the quarterback they had before. And so, I know it's not that big of a deal, but always something to always look at. And this kid is darn good. This kid is good, people. He is big, and he is fast. People are talking about him possibly running a 5.4 or maybe even under at the combine. If this kid comes out there and runs a 5.37 or a 5.38, I'm going to be over here pooping my pants because that is a beast of a wide receiver. And this kid is going to be darn good. Another great thing about him, this kid has some big ol' hands. These things are humongous. If I can pull up a picture, I'm going to put it right here so you can see these darn hands. They are huge. They almost fit entirely around like this of the fat part of the football. Yes, they're huge hands. And so another big thing for him. The biggest problem with him is that he's a very, very raw talent. I think a really good comparison is A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf. Both of them were very raw talents coming into the league, but they refined their game, and they learned how to run some routes good, and they became top 5 options in the NFL. I think Treylon Burks is going to be put into that same exact type of situation, where if he learns how to figure out his routes and figure out the game a little bit over the next year, he is going to be a top 5, at worst, top 10 wide receiver in the league. And he has the potential to possibly be a number 1 option in the NFL. And I am very, very, very excited for him. And he's going to be good. He's going to be good. A lot of people have him going in the late first round, early second. I doubt he falls that far. So probably late first. A lot of people have him going to the Patriots and the Chiefs. And if he ends up on either one of those teams, I could definitely make the argument for taking him at 101 because Mac Jones is looking for a big guy to throw it to, and having Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback is good enough in itself. And so this kid has a lot of potential, but it is very, very raw potential. And if you want to win this upcoming season, not the guy to draft. My personal opinion, you should be taking one of those 2 running backs instead if you want to win this upcoming year. Because those running backs have the potential to be good right out the gate, but wide receivers take a little bit of time to get acclimated to the game. But if you have 2 years to waste, take Treylon Burks. Take Treylon Burks because this kid is going to be good. Treylon Burks, the 103, possibly the 101. Take him at 102. He's a top 3 pick, 110%. You guys know what time it is. It's time for a quick summary. Oh yeah, baby. So our 101, it's Breece Hall, a running back who is ready to go out there and play some football and ready to produce right out the gate for your fantasy football team. Bam, wham, shazam, the 102, it's Isaiah Spiller, a running back who is super duper raw, but has the potential to be a good guy later on in the future, or possibly even this year if he gets into the right system. The 103 is the guy who we could take at 101 or 102. It's Treylon Burks, baby. And he's a wide receiver who is a generational talent, and if you get him on your fantasy football team, you should feel darn lucky. And that's my 101 through my 103. Next episode, we're going to be talking about the 104 through the 107. And spoiler alert, guess what, people? Only one of them's a running back. So we're going to start talking about some more wide receivers. Oh yeah, baby. And that's all the information I got for today. Please like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at the TCO Fantasy Football Show. And thank you guys for watching. Once again, the TCO Fantasy Football Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody.